Hello and welcome to the Plyr Toons podcast. This is the segment where we talk about anime and the mechanics and plot of the anime or animes. I'm your host today, Fearless Soul, and with me is my reliable co-host. See if he'll introduce himself.
Yo, Duck McGavin in the house.
Today we're going to talk about My Hero Academia. Particularly, we're going to talk about the tournament arc that we're in right now, which seems to be a common theme in anime. And we're going to talk about the series finale of Samurai Jack. Prepare to hear earful about that. Alright,
Oh, I've
we're going
got
to jump
words.
straight into the topics. First, we're going to talk about the matchups in My Hero Academia. Alright, Duck, who are your favorite in the matchups?
Infomercial. 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 You gotta pimp your shit. And that is what that tech girl is all about. That
Oh boy.
entire fight was one big, hey, look at me. And you cannot blame a lady for hustling. Like, she knows exactly why she's there. Even at the very end of the fight, she's like, all right, I showed literally everything. The bobbles, the who's and what's, it's everything. Walked right off. She had no interest in winning. Because she was already winning.
And she could have easily taken that guy out. There's something to be said for being too honest.
At first, I honestly thought that she was going to, use the tech that she gave him to more or less inhibit him. But no, it helped him, kind of.
Then she made sure that her own tech gave her the advantage over him while he was stuck flailing around.
Yep, yep.
That kind of threw me for a loop right there because I thought at some point she was just gonna make him throw the match with what she had on him, but she just threw the match instead. Well, that aside, you know, that was probably one of the first times I've ever been treated to that in the anime with just an info dump on what a character creates instead of an info dump on their abilities.
Well, there have been tournaments where it's showboaty or whatever, and they're not actually interested in winning. But I don't think that it's ever been like, trying to push a product that I've
And
seen.
I mean, that was, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's one of the first hard sells I've ever seen.
Although I will admit, I really wanted to see more of that Blockhead episode. Or not episode, fight. Steel versus Rock.
Yeah, that would have made for a good shonen matchup, but they kind of ended it when they punched each other out.
Well, it's more the fact that half the fight took place during Midoriya talking to Red, so, you know.
Oh, is that our official name for it today?
That is the name for today. Maybe not the name for tomorrow, but the name for today. I cannot remember her name. I can't remember anyone's name. Be happy I can remember Deku's name half the time.
Yeah, they
For
are.
everyone watching, when it comes to anime, I watched enough to the point where I can't be bothered unless it's on Dragon Ball. I'll remember an eighth of the names from Naruto. And that's just about it, yeah. I've watched so many anime. I mean, one of my
It,
favorite anime, Trigun. I know who Vash is. Trying to remember the rest of their names is really hard.
don't even remember his brother Knives.
I was about to say Vicious, but that's from fucking Cowboy Bebop, so I should tell you exactly how my mind works.
Yeah, I tend to memorize as many names as possible because they took to me it's like this. They took the time to come up with these names and character and mythos and stuff. So I might as well try to at least commit it to memory.
Yeah, I can't do names, especially like not to be any kind of insensitive, but especially if it's a non-English speaking name like Bob, Joe, Frederick. I can't
Yeah.
do it. Like I hear Midoriya, and it's like just might as well be the wind just going right through my ears.
Ooh boy. I just well from my point of view is Japanese is hard in general, even when they translate it. So having
Oh,
to
I have no
say
problem pronouncing the names. My problem is retaining them.
yeah, Red or AKA Uchako, you
Yeah, I
know,
wouldn't even guess that. Not even a little bit.
Todoroki, AKA Icy Hot,
Yeah, I really
Explosion.
like the show. I swear I do. I cannot remember the names. I remember all the plot points, just not names. Can't do it.
You
I have no
know,
room.
Koski Bakugo, aka Explosion Guy.
Yeah, Boom Boom Man.
Yeah, those names are not really conducive to English speaking memory, so it's a little difficult to commit them to memory if you're not used to it.
I tell you what, I can get behind Boom Boom Man. Anytime you want to blow something up, I will happily back you, whoever you are. Don't take that out of context. I mean, in a way that is conducive and law abiding, like fireworks and stuff. Don't blow people up. It's illegal.
Yeah, but his classmates are right about him. His personality is garbage.
Yeah, at least he has heart, you know?
Yeah, he's got plenty of that. And arm strength. I think at some point we're going to see more of that.
Well, should be next episode.
Oh, hopefully he doesn't go too hard on the little girl because I got a feeling she's going to catch it.
I would love to see her win. You know she's going to at least try her all. It's either A, she's going to narrowly lose and he's going to learn some sort of lesson of, wow, I underestimated her. Or B, she's going to win and he's going to be all like, wow, I underestimated her. And then
Which
she's
brings
going to
us
be
to our
all like,
next.
I've grown so much, look at me.
Yeah. Which brings us to our next point of contact here. What do you think her chances are against Exploded Guy, aka Bakugo?
I'd say honestly it's like an 80-20, 80 towards Bakugo. I'm almost certain he's going to win. I think
Jesus
she's going to put up
Christ.
a hell of a fight, though. Although if it
Yes.
goes as short as every other match is gone, you might blink and miss it.
Yeah, I think it's
Like
gonna.
so many times you watch tournament arcs where they
Mhm.
last for years. It feels like this one, blink and you'll miss it. Like each round up, like the first two rounds lasted what, 3 episodes at most,
Yeah,
and then you get to this and you're putting in like the first one had 3 fights, I think, right, and then this one had 3 or 4. So they're blazing through.
yeah. I don't exactly remember how many fights per episode, but it was really fast. They were going through
Well, this
matchups.
one was Acid Girl and Naval Beam, which is their official names in my heart now.
I don't even know their names.
Yeah, I have no idea. All I know is she reminds me of a slug, and for some odd reason, I think that's hot.
Okay.
And oh yeah, I remember his pants fell down, and dude with the balls on his head was super
Yeah.
disappointed. That was fucking hilarious.
Oh boy,
I
that
think that was
was.
the first fight, right?
Yeah, that was the first fight of the last episode, and
Yeah.
she kind of uppercutted him out of the ring.
And then next it was Speedy Gonzalez and Techno Girl, where Techno Girl gave an infomercial, which was amazing.
She
And
really got him good too.
yeah, and then finally it was the Blockhead versus Blockhead, right?
Yep.
I'm not missing one. So yeah, 3 fights. I don't know why I thought it was 4. Maybe it's because the fourth one was about to start.
Yeah. And then they ended the episode, which was
Gotta have them cliffhangers.
yes. The
As much as
cliffhangers.
I love this show, it feels a hair too predictable. No, I did forget a fight. I forgot the first frigging fight because it went really quickly. I think it was the first fight with the summoner lady who pulled out a shield and the shadow dude
Oh
who
yeah.
basically just knocked her out, and it was so fast. Yeah, I think that was the first fight. It was so fast I already forgot it. She seemed so disappointed in herself. And I gotta
Yeah.
say, I was too.
I thought she was gonna at least put up a fight, but the dude tricked her
She
into.
tried. He didn't even trick her. She didn't have a choice. He was like, I'm going to destroy you in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, I mean, I consider that a form of trickery because he didn't attack her directly. He waited for her to summon the shield, then he would attack the shield and push her back each time until he knocked her out of the ring.
Hmm? I just can't believe that she didn't notice. Probably a lot like Deku. She was thinking too much about what she was going to do than what she was doing.
Yeah, that's one of them. That's between her and Deku. That's their main problem. They think too much
Yeah.
when they should act.
Luckily, Deku has that acting and thinking on the fly thing down relatively well.
She, on the other hand, is not so fortunate.
Yeah.
But then again, which of us can claim to be that fortunate when it comes to that sort of thing? Either we act too much and are thought as dummies, or we think too much and miss opportunities.
I'm always going to be impulsive. I'm firmly, not exactly within the dumb camp, but I will act far more before I think.
Because you know the importance of action over actual planning. Because
Well,
plans can go awry.
I'm going to quote someone from a recent show that I watched, Flash, and it was Snart, Captain Cold. I'm going to butcher this, so excuse me while I ad-lib. You make the plan, you execute the plan goes to shit. That's how it does. I will
Yep.
make all the thoughtful plannings and everything else, and it will go to poop. And when it goes to poop, that's when it shows how well you planned.
Well, that's one way to think about it. That's why we have things like contingency plans.
Well, I think Deku does a very good job of. It's like, all right, this is what I think will happen. Well, that didn't happen, so we're gonna have to figure it out from here.
Yep, I kind of like the way he thinks though, because he'll just go with his original plan. And if that doesn't work, he'll just muscle through it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's just one of the few qualities I like about him, because nobody likes an unconfident coward. Well, anyway, I guess we can move on to our final road of discussion here. Do you think Izu himself is going to win the tournament? I know it's a big stretch, but try to go with it here.
Izu. Names again. Oh, you mean Midoriya, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Deku. Well, top three for sure. I mean, well, Icy Hot should be his next match. So, honestly, the biggest question is he going to win against Icy Hot? And if he doesn't, then this whole tournament arc's just going to crumble. So I'm going to say he's probably going to win against Icy Hot. And if he's going to do that, then he's probably going to be going against Boom Boom Man, which probably means Boom Boom Man's going to beat What's Her Face again with the hard trying, blah blah blah. And I would say probably have them in the final two, and probably Midoriya win.
Yeah,
Probably. I know that was a whole bunch of nonsense I just jabbered on about, but basically, long story short, Midoriya against Boom Boom Man, more likely than not.
So those are your match predictions thus far.
More likely than not, have the childhood friends become grown up or less childy, more grown up rivals, and then they fight. It's kind of textbook, but that's what I assume. I could be wrong. It could be Icy Hot against Boom Boom Man.
Somehow I don't see that happen. I think it's going to be Boom Boom against Deku.
Yeah.
And that fight, as per regulation, tournament arc is probably going to last about 2 or 3 episodes.
Probably. That is the one thing that, as much as I love this show, I feel like it is so trapped by cliche and stereotypes when it comes to anime.
I mean, would you?
It does a lot of cool things, don't get me wrong, and I thoroughly enjoy it, but it is very paint by the numbers.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of innovation going on in the show.
The most that they do have, even though a lot of the stories are very similar and similar feeling, the characters are really good in my opinion. Even with them showing all these characters in these very short fights, you still get a sense of who they are.
Usually when you get shown an anime like that, the male lead is usually one of two things. Either a weak-willed guy with not a lot of confidence, he works his way up to being strong, or he's a strong male lead that needs to be humbled.
Yeah.
And I prefer the strong male lead because that fits my archetype a little bit more. Because, if I have power, I'm not going to necessarily flaunt it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to hide it either. I mean, you get what I mean on that, right? Just
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, I think my favorite archetype will be somewhere between Goku, who is just a complete like he is slipped like if you think about it, where I was just recently watching something on Family Guy where Peter Griffin started off as not a complete idiot, just not very smart,
hmm
and then just went complete imbecile by the where he is now. I feel like Goku has undergone a similar arc where in Dragon Ball Super, Goku's flat dumb, just straight up, just nothing up there. When it comes to fighting, he's god dang brilliant. Everything else,
yeah,
but for some odd reason, I like that. Like just that pure, like I want to fight because I want to fight. I love the people around me, and I would like to save the Earth. But above all, I want to fight.
and his motivation for fighting is explained as just him being a Saiyan
Yeah.
and their need for conquest.
And then you have characters. I don't know. I think I like mostly dumb people. Like, I mean, he's kind of smart, but same with Vash from Trigun or what's the main character from Cowboy Bebop?
The main character, well, everybody agrees on it being Spike.
Yeah, Spike. Sorry, I was trying not to say Vicious. I love Vicious, but Spike is kind of dumb. Good at fighting, kind of dumb. So
He's
yeah,
like
I think
street
I like
smart
kind
though.
of dumb characters, like freaking the
And
guy from Yu Yu Hakusho. Kind of dumb.
yeah,
I like
just a
idiots.
thug.
Obviously, I like idiots. I'm having a
And
revelation all of a sudden.
and
Sorry.
and FYI, Duck, Bash the Stampede, he acts like an idiot, right? But he's proven to be supremely intelligent. He's probably
Well,
older
he
than anybody
knows
on
a
the.
lot, but I wouldn't call him intelligent.
Just at least that's how I see him. He's lived a lot longer than anybody else, right?
Yeah, there's a difference between being intelligent and being knowledgeable. He's lived long enough to learn all this stuff. You can be knowledgeable, but he's made a bunch of slip ups and some really dumb things in the small amount of span that you get to see him through the series.
Like when he was facing that guy Venom. I mean, no Monev, I believe,
I'm so bad with names. I have no idea.
the big guy that looked like Venom.
Sure.
You know, he fought him and he made a couple slip ups in the fight that caused a bunch of people to die, but he blamed Monel for that and pretty much beat him down for it. He
Yeah.
didn't kill him, he just beat him down. And the people he was working for killed him.
I don't know. I like simple characters, I guess. Simple characters with a very expressive story.
Yep, and simple motivations.
Yep.
Nothing complex like Deku.
Well, Deku's also pretty simple. Little kid basically wants to be his hero and works towards that goal.
Yeah, but I forgot. Did he ever explain why he wanted to be like All Might?
Because All Might's the best, and Deku isn't. Wouldn't you want to be the best version of what you can be?
True. But just for the sake of being the best version, you could aim a little lower than being the top hero.
Kids got aspirations. I mean, I'm not saying that I want to be a hero, but I'm in a similar fashion. I will always want to make better food. Flat out. I want to make the best food. I want to eat the best food.
Yeah, but would you
And I
try to
want to share
compete
the best
against
food.
Gordon Ramsay
Fuck yes, I would. Probably get my ass handed to me, but I would try.
or Bobby
I guarantee
Blake?
you I'd learn a whole bunch from it too.
Yeah, well, folks, this is my co-host. He is aspiration driven. Me, not so much.
I like food. It's what I do. Food and video games. I'm shit at video games, so food.
I wouldn't say you're bad at video games, just aspiration driven.
I know a lot about video games. I'm not very good at them though.
I can't claim I'm no good at them because I play stuff like this guy and made guides for it.
Yeah, this guy can be hard.
Yeah, the reason I play this guy is because I like seeing big damage numbers and building up to that. And it takes a long time.
Well, speaking of animated things, I think we got another thing to go on to.
Yeah, let's just move on to our next segment of conversation: the notorious ending for Samurai Jack. Topic of discussion: what do you think of Ashi gaining Aku's powers in the end? How she gained them more precisely?
I'm having flashbacks to last one. This is not your talking points. Because she'd already had his powers by the beginning of this, right?
Um, she didn't really gain his powers until like halfway through the fight.
Well, I think she already had them. She just didn't know how to use them.
It just the way she gained them. You remember how Jack kind of went inside her body
Yeah.
and
Before we do any of this, I'm going to let you know, and I would like to let it be known to everyone watching. I did not like this episode.
oh, it almost negates my last conversation piece. Then I'm gonna ask
I
you
liked
anyway.
the premise of it, and we will get to that. But I'm just letting it be known that everything from this is coming from a very biased point of view. Because I do really enjoy Samurai Jack, and I'll probably have a spiel at the very end of this, but continue on. I apologize.
Anyway, how she gained his powers was basically Jack going inside her body, finding her struggling against the dark part of herself, and she had all but given up at that point. And then he just told her to fight just one more time. She said she couldn't anymore. Then when he got spit out, he said he loved her. And all of a
From a
sudden
mile away.
yeah, from a mile away where I'm not even sure she could hear it. And
No,
all of
I
a
mean,
sudden,
I saw that coming from a mile away.
oh, anyway, he said he loved her, and all of a sudden she gained the strength of 10,000 women and gained control of her dark side, which was very convenient at that point because everything she tried up to then failed miserably.
Hmm.
All the willpower in the world couldn't help her. She was about to kill him. But him saying he loved her was enough for her to finally gain control. My theory on this is that it takes something like love in order to conquer the um it took something like love for her to conquer the dark side that was in her. So once she started to feel it for Jack more strongly, it was easy for her to just gain control in an instant. That's just me theory crafting at this point.
No, that sounds just about right. Through the power of love and friendship, we are made stronger. It's a very classic story.
Yeah, even in an American cartoon. But since Aku is made up of all the negative emotions and like hatred, and, despair and things, when you introduce an element like love, which is selfless, it can't really control you anymore.
Hmm.
So, do you have any other thoughts to add to that, or
Not really. I mean, honestly, it was just. I'm pretty sure I said it in the last podcast, or maybe the one before that, when I was talking about how eventually the power of love is going to defeat this nonsense. I I will let you do your shtick, and I will happily give my full opinion after it. But it's going to be a rant, and I apologize for that.
oh well. So, moving on a bit here. What do you think about the last fight in the series? Was it anticlimactic to you, or did you just find it satisfying like I did?
I think it was disappointing. I think it was very pretty, but I
Yeah,
think it was overall disappointing.
I mean, they took a few liberties that I didn't like him getting put back in the past of defeat, past Aku through Ashi.
Well, I
'Cause
think my biggest problem. Do you mind me doing my little rant right now? Because I'm trying to find a good place to put it in, but I can't think of one properly.
oh, go ahead, Ben, all you like.
My biggest problem with this episode is up until this point. In fact, if you watch every Samurai Jack episode up until this point, for the most part, I mean, the one right before this one, I wasn't too hot on. I don't know if you remember. It wasn't bad, but it was
Yeah,
fine.
because Scaramucci got killed, right?
Samurai Jack is that was unfortunate, but I got over it eventually. The biggest thing about Samurai Jack is it's slow, it's methodical, it shows you these beautiful things and shows you how they get ruined and shows you how Jack copes with how things are. And it's very slow and it's very precise. And none of that was this episode. Not even a little bit. It did not feel thought out. It felt like they had 2 to 3 episodes that they had to push into one. And for a show like Steven Universe or Adventure Time, getting a lot of stuff into a small time slot is exactly what you do. But for something like Samurai Jack, like even watching the first episode of Samurai Jack, that episode barely anything happened. And I loved it. And watching this, and even at the very end, like it felt like they were just following the beats of bring in everyone Jax has ever met, do the big fight, win with the power of friendship and love. Yay. Although I will admit, the ladies flying in on the reindeer with the power of bagpipes was one of the most epic things I've ever seen. I will
know,
not
right?
denounce that in any way, shape, or form. That was pure gold. But
Man,
then
go ahead.
going back to the past with Ashi, just the entire time thinking to myself, just like, she's just going to vanish. You know this. I know this. Everyone here should know this. Why are you showing me this? Please stop. And wouldn't you know, Ashi vanishes.
I mean, literally, she vanished right out of her wedding dress.
And this is another thing, like, I've been having the same problem with watching The Flash lately. Time travel. By that logic, with her vanishing, all of time should have basically said, I have no idea what's going on now, and reset itself to the point where Aku got destroyed. But then again, Aku couldn't get destroyed if Jack never went back in the past, and blah, 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 blah. But with Ashi disappearing, that would imply that all of that was undone, but it wasn't. If that makes any sense? I don't know if I can make time travel make sense. I am in no way a scientist, but I know that made no sense.
I mean, theory crafting is a theologist or anything.
It has nothing to do with theory carving. It's just simply the way that time travel works. Since, human beings, we've never done it. And if we have, no one is talking about it.
Yeah, making time flow backwards or fast forwarding is kind of not in our skill set right now, as far as I know.
It just felt like sadness for sadness' sake. Everything just felt like you wanted a happy ending, so we gave you a happy ending. It's not the best ending, but it's the best ending we could give you at the time. And I appreciate that, and I'm glad that Samurai Jack got its end, because it deserved its end. I just wish it that it was more. I wish that they would have been able to better resolve all it was that was Samurai Jack. Because I love Samurai Jack, and even after this episode, I still love it. It's just like when Star Wars came out with the prequels. I still love Star Wars. Just, it has some weird things that happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And I will still love every episode of Samurai Jack up until this one. I will still love. But this one, I did not like. Just at all. And it's unfortunate that it was the final episode. But it is what it is.
Yeah. It really sucks. For our final note here, do you find the ending bittersweet or do you find it acceptable?
I think I just answered that.
Yeah. You
What's
pretty
your
much
opinion on that?
Personally, I find it somewhat acceptable but bittersweet at the same time, because I like how things ended with Aku, but I don't like the fact that he couldn't have his chosen bride. That she said that without Aku, she would have never existed and then simply vanished, just like that, and left him sad and broken until a ladybug lands on his finger at the very end of the last episode, and he looked hopeful at the end there.
Which
But
was nice. I did like the ladybug. Like that last bit of the episode is what the entire episode should have been.
But Samurai Jack is one of the few cartoons out there that just it really makes you feel the weight of death. Really, just the only other anime I found like that recently was Sword Art Online. You ever heard of that one?
I'm not talking about Sword Art Online. This does not need to be the Duck rips on Sword Art Online show. So, yes, I have seen it, and no, I will not compare it. That is an insult beyond an insult. And anyone who likes Sword Art Online, come at me, bro. I will happily let you know what good anime is.
Yeah, well, in that anime,
At the same time, keep in mind my opinions do not reflect those opinions of the people of the Plyr 2 podcast. Please do not throw hate or any malice towards them for my own opinions. My opinions are my own, and they are right.
all right. Anyway, in that anime, in the beginning arc, at least, they really make you feel the weight of death with everybody that dies. And Samurai Jack is kind of similar. Everybody that dies, you kind of just feel that weight on them. Even when the Scotsman dies, his daughters mourn him and say he won't have passed in that vein, and then he comes back as a magical ghost with his spirit bound to a broken sword. Which, yeah, yeah, kind of weird there because he ends up being instrumental in defeating Aku.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you wonder what happened to him after that. Without Aku, would he never have existed either?
That's the biggest problem with the whole Ashi thing. That statement makes no goddamn sense. Without Aku, then none of that would happen. And that version of Jack would cease to exist as well.
What about his other children, like the Rave children that came to help Jack? Would they never have existed? The Rave children, the ones that were dancing.
By that logic, no, none of that should have happened. Everything should have been completely undone. At best, Jack, the best excuse I could give you is since Jack was thrown through time, then he is no longer beholden to those time rules, which would mean that the Jack that was recently thrown, that you saw get thrown into the past, just stopped existing altogether, and now this Jack would have all those memories. But by that logic, Ashi should also be immune to those same time rules.
Yeah, because she went backwards in time instead of forwards like Jack. So I guess at some point she would have stopped aging like he did.
I have no idea. Either way, it makes no gosh darn sense. Anytime you mess with time travel, like I think that's one of the biggest things. Like that is really hard to write time travel properly. Only time I've seen it anywhere close to being right, and for a show to make rules and follow those rules for time travel is Doctor Who. Love it or hate it, I don't think it's the best show. I think it's darn entertaining, and British humor, while dry, is wonderful. That show understands the rules of time travel. Yes, it breaks some of those rules sometimes, but for the most part, if it says this cannot be done, it will never be done within the confines of the show.
I have a hard time figuring out things like, the time-space continuum and how it flows backwards and forwards within a show, because that is a bit beyond my ken.
To be honest, you just can't write for it properly.
Yeah,
Honestly, in my opinion, aside from Cartoon Network wanting Samurai Jack to keep going, I guarantee you those writers were like, ending this is going to be so hard. Like trying to find a way to properly end it is so hard, and I commend them for trying at least.
Yeah, I understand that the path of the Bushido can be terribly harsh, but to end it that way is it almost feels like a cop out.
I don't think it's a cop out. I just think it's I just keep coming to the word disappointing. Like I don't know, honestly. Like I can't say I know what they could have done better. I think where the biggest thing where they started messing up was where Ashi became corrupted, and it set us on this path. Like they had a clear path in mind that became clear like 2 episodes ago ish.
I honestly couldn't figure out where that was going to end because I thought he was going to kill her right then and there. I mean,
Nah,
he didn't even have the gall or the forward world to do it. He just
this is
said, "No,
Jack
I
we're
can't
talking
do it."
about. More importantly, this is closer. Like in the beginning of the show, possible. But where Jack is now is the same Jack that we were left with before, he lost his sword and his hope and his will to blah blah blah.
Well, he does have a great respect for life,
Yeah.
despite being able to take it so easily.
Honestly, I think I would have preferred it if Ashi either A died there in the final battle, or basically if she had not been cured with the power of love. As nice as that is, as warm and fuzzy as that may make people feel, bad endings aren't bad.
I
I would
mean,
be okay with her going out and everyone going out in a blaze of glory, and Jack going to the past and defeating Aku, and then there you go. Although then again, I think one of the biggest problems is that they would have to figure out how to get him to the past, because apparently all the other portals that would get him to the past are gone. So Ashi is their only way of doing it. Maybe have her sacrifice herself by doing it and holding back Aku at the same time. Say, Jack, you gotta go. I can only keep the portal open for so long. Blah 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 blah.
yeah, something like that would have been a lot easier to swallow than letting her get all the way up to him in her little wedding dress, and then all of a sudden, poof, she's gone.
Yeah.
That's like having a gun pointed at your head, and then right before they pull the trigger, they just wind up and kick you in the balls
Honestly,
and
it just
laugh
seems
at you.
insulting. We wouldn't see it coming.
I mean, I knew something was up when she made that pain expression, and then she just fell out, and I was like, "Oh, here it comes."
Yeah.
That was really dumb. But
Keep in mind, the beginning of the episode was goddamn gorgeous. Like doing fight scenes, Samurai Jack has always been good with fight scenes. And when Aku slammed down on those people and then turned them into tiny Akus, it showed exactly how little fricks Aku gave about anything attacking him. Like they were there as a simple distraction. They did not matter. I mean, yes, they were very helpful in keeping Aku busy while Jack used the power of love and friendship to win the day. But for the most part, Aku, aside from his hubris, is completely invincible. Aside from him doing silly things that get him dead, Aku is all powerful. There is no stopping Aku,
yeah, I
except for with
mean,
the one sword.
he killed all the Scotsman's sons just by rolling over them, and they were in
Mm-hmm.
tanks. I was like, okay. And then at the end, he got mad enough where he just said, "You know what? Screw all of you." He went up into the sky, turned into a rain cloud, and let himself go as a billion needles
Mm-hmm.
that just skewered everybody.
Like all the action in the show was great. It's just the way that the story went. I just meh.
I mean,
That's all I really got to say about it. I just gonna keep repeating myself from this point on. Honestly,
well, I mean, I guess worse things could have happened in the ending. It could have just kept dragging it on, and you know what? It makes me think about a sequel. What would it look like?
no, end it. Leave it there. I'm done. I love
All right.
Samurai Jack, but I'd much rather have it just be ended right there. There is no
Well,
reason to go back to it. I'd much rather have something new from the writers and animators. A new show to watch.
yeah. Like the sequel to Bleach, maybe. Well, that's another topic for another time. Right now, I'm going to ask that you all give me another topic in which to discuss. Since Samurai Jack is over, I would like to put it in your minds to maybe Give me another anime or cartoon or even claymation to discuss. Something for me to watch. And Duck here too,
Ew.
because we can expand the topic to 3 to 4 subjects if you like, but it's all up to you. If you find a satisfactory answer that we can actually swallow, just type it in the comments or even here in the live chat.
Do keep in mind, if you want me to catch up with a 500 episode thing, we're going to start doing these podcasts from episode 1, and you will wait. I cannot watch 500 episodes in a month. Never again.
Yeah, that's a little care intensive that we just can't fill an order that size, so you'll have to understand.
I will happily review something like Naruto from beginning to end, but you gonna wait. We can do like 5 episodes a week, and I can definitely do that. But if you expect me to catch up with Naruto, I think I left off on episode like 300 and something. But no. I love that show, and I will get to it eventually. But between that and things like One Piece, if you find a show that is relatively small, I will happily try to keep up with it. Or something that is new, I will happily try to keep up with it. But if it was around when I was born, good luck with that. Sorry for taking over again. I just wanted to say my 2 cents. I am not watching a 500 episode thing. I mean, I will try. I will watch it on my own time. But there's no way I'm catching up. If you want it to be relevant, it's not happening.
All right. I guess that just about wraps up our time here. I was your host today, Fearless Soul. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch as Fearless Soul. And this is my co-host, Duck McGavin. Plug yourself, will you?
Hello, I am Duck McGavin. I talk way too much, but you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and the YouTubes, DUCKMCGAV. I misspelled my own damn name. Try again. DUCKMCGAVIN. Duck McGavin. Normally I'm more articulate. Honestly, at this point in time, I'm just really broken up about Samurai Jack, so I apologize for that. At the same time, before we go, Fearless, what would you think of Botaro? The new series starring Naruto's son. From what I understand, it's a great starting point. Would you be interested in maybe taking a look at that?
Sure, why not?
For next week, if no one else has any better suggestions? Taking suggestions, all comers, all comers. Anyway, there you go.
I guess we better end it here. It's been nice talking to you all, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thanks for watching.